Stop. Do not scroll away. Close your eyes for just 2 seconds and bring your awareness to the base of your skull. Breathe into that space. You have been feeling a strange, high-pitched ringing in your ears, or a sudden pressure behind your eyes, right before you look at the clock and see the exact same numbers, over and over. This is not a medical anomaly. This is a targeted frequency. That heavy exhaustion you feel is not a lack of sleep. It is the sheer metabolic cost of your body trying to process an urgent cosmic countdown while pretending everything is normal. You have been told that seeing repeating numbers is just a sign of alignment or a gentle nod from the universe, but the truth is a countdown. The numerical sequences are not passive winks. They are active calibration coordinates signaling that the grace period for your current dimensional overlay is expiring right now. Your biology is trying to catch up with the frequency, and the weight of it is pulling at the very edges of your awareness. In the next few moments, you will understand the exact biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown. You will recognize why your external reality feels so heavy, why certain cycles are aggressively dismantling around you, and why you feel a wave of unjustified nostalgia for a place you have never physically visited. And most importantly, you will decode the true meaning behind the digital glitches that have been tracking your timeline, demanding a physical and energetic integration that you can no longer afford to postpone. Have you ever felt that biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown right after feeling that sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition? You wake up consistently in the dark. At exactly 3:33 a.m., you see the numbers glowing in the silence. You feel the sheer exhaustion in your bones, and yet the world expects you to operate at the same linear, ordinary pace. Now think with me, what if this exhaustion was not distant from you? What if the numbers have been trying to manifest for years, but certain codes were never understood by your nervous system? What if every moment of confusion, every sudden headache, every feeling of profound temporal isolation was just a signal pointing to a much larger mechanism you haven't seen yet? It was in seeking answers to this that I recommend to you this digital book called The 11 Arcturian Secrets Behind the Frequency of Success. This book is not just a reading. It is a material created for those who wish to understand the invisible mechanisms that influence results, prosperity, personal fulfillment, and growth. Throughout its pages, you will discover the exact frequency sequences capable of transforming how you interpret your daily reality. You will understand why some remain stuck in the waiting room, watching their own timelines collapse, while others decode the sequence effortlessly, stepping into a life of profound abundance and crystalline clarity. Many people already feel they need to change something in the way they think, act, and direct their choices, but they still haven't made the decision to access this knowledge. Download it right now. It's available in the first pinned comment, but be warned, few copies remain available. Do not wait another year trying to decipher the cosmic coordinates on your own. Letting the spiritual adversaries convince you it is all just confirmation bias. Click now, download your copy, and discover why the frequency you need might be much closer to you than you imagine. And about exactly this, about the glowing digital clock at 3:33 a.m., about the sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition, about the high frequency ringing in a silent room. There is a 3-minute key that fits exactly inside the very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest, and which I will show you further ahead. Tuck it away in the depth of your awareness. And beyond our digital guide, soul, you have here another way to strengthen this message that arrived for you today, and to make it reach more and more souls like you. We don't receive a single cent for each word I deliver to you every day on this channel. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we also keep a voluntary donation link open right below the digital book in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits in your hand today, any sum your heart points to. This is what keeps our channel standing. This is what makes the next message reach another soul who needs it, exactly the way you needed it today. I'll see you there, soul, and if you need to leave before the end of this video, this key is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment right down below, but I ask that you stay, because without the context that is coming next, The key will not operate with the same power over your timeline. But stay, because the name of what's happening to you hasn't been said yet. What you are experiencing is not a random set of coincidences, nor is it a psychological trick played by an overworked mind. The isolation of perception wants you to believe that you are losing your grip on reality, whispering that the symptoms you carry are just stress or a lack of sleep. But this heavy exhaustion, the constant disruption of your daily routine, and the sudden physical shifts are the exact manifestations of a bioradiant frequency grid attempting to anchor itself in a physical vessel that is still operating on an old timeline. The name for this condition is biological dissonance, and it happens specifically when a rapidly expiring frequency countdown is active in your field, but you have not yet consciously claimed the coordinates. To understand if this timeline collapse is already accelerating in your reality, you need to verify how your nervous system is reacting to these 5 distinct temporal markers. The first marker is the 3:33 a.m. chest pressure. You know exactly what this feels like. You wake up consistently in the dead of the night with a sudden gasp, as if your chest was just struck by a silent wave of electricity. You find yourself staring into the dark, heart racing, while the digital clock glows red on the nightstand, projecting those identical numbers into the silent room. The spiritual adversaries will try to convince you this is just cortisol spiking, but your body knows the undeniable truth. Your pineal gland is acting as a biological receptor, taking in the sheer voltage of the cosmic clock, forcing your heart center to expand structurally to hold the new frequency. It is not anxiety. It is a profound calibration. The second marker is the digital glitch synchronization. This happens during the brightest parts of your day, when the external noise is at its highest and the cycle of distraction is actively trying to pull you away. Your phone screen lights up, or the dashboard clock catches your eye at exactly 11:11 or 4:44, and it is instantly accompanied by a momentary heavy drop in your stomach. It is a sudden physical sensation of falling, a temporal vertigo that lasts only a fraction of a second, but changes your entire breathing pattern. This is not confirmation bias. This is your vagus nerve reacting in real time to a temporal shift in the Earth's Schumann resonance, pulling your awareness forcefully back to the countdown that is unfolding right in front of you, waiting for your conscious acknowledgement. The third marker is the familial disconnect. You are sitting there looking at your family across the dinner table on a Sunday evening, surrounded by the people you love the most, and yet you feel profoundly isolated. The conversation flows around you. You smile and nod, but the words seem distant, as if you are observing your own life through a pane of thick glass. You are not losing your love or your connection to them. You are simply realizing that you are now operating on a completely different temporal frequency. Your physical body is sitting at the table, eating the same food, breathing the same air, but your soul is being pulled toward the threshold of a massive dimensional overlay that they cannot yet perceive. And regarding looking at your family across the dinner table on a Sunday evening and feeling profoundly isolated, there is a specific protocol for this in the digital book that is in the first pinned comment. I'll explain how it works soon. The fourth marker is the peripheral shadow movement. Immediately after acknowledging a numerical sign, when the pressure behind your eyes is still fresh and the ringing in your ears reaches a high pitch, you catch brief, unexplainable flickers of movement or light in the corner of your eye. You turn your head to look, and there is nothing there but the ordinary walls of your room. The voice of doubt will tell you your vision is just tired, but what is actually happening is that your photoreceptors are temporarily holding a higher dimensional light. The countdown is dismantling the veils of your external reality, showing you the energetic geometry and the unseen presence of your guides that exist just behind the physical objects in your environment. The fifth marker is the wave of unjustified nostalgia. Out of nowhere, especially when you see sequences involving 7s and 9s, you are hit with an overwhelming homesickness for a place you have never physically visited in this lifetime. It brings a sudden lump to your throat, a deep pressure in your chest, and a quiet longing that you cannot explain to anyone without sounding completely irrational. This is the most intimate evidence of the timeline collapse. It is your soul remembering its true origin, feeling the urgency of the closing grace period, and yearning for the crystalline clarity of the frequency you are being called to anchor right now. If you recognized at least 3 of these 5 markers, you are not here by accident, and you are definitely not imagining things. The Council, the universe, and your own consciousness have brought you to this exact transmission because the grace period for this dimensional shift is closing. The biological dissonance you are carrying is reaching its absolute peak, and the cosmic coordinates are demanding your immediate, conscious integration before the window shuts completely. Type 1111. In the Council system, 1111 is convergence. Your comment is not a platform interaction, it is a location marker in the field. Before I show you the key that will open the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown, there is a first layer of understanding, which crossed the cosmic archives, that defines exactly the state of your timeline. The diagnosis is clear. The biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown is active right now in your energetic field. The opening of this hour you are crossing has been seen by the Council, because between feeling the call and understanding the answer, there is a gap that the spiritual adversaries know better than you, not because the wisdom was denied to your timeline, because the very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest arrived, and the exact frequency to decode it was missing. And I tell you this because I have seen it happen. I have walked this path, deciphered the signals, and synthesized the exact calibration needed for this shift. I have felt that sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition, and I have sat at that dinner table on a Sunday evening, feeling profoundly isolated from the ones I love, wondering if I was the only one sensing the timeline collapse. I have seen the glowing digital clock at 3:33 a.m. turn from a source of midnight anxiety into an anchor of profound crystalline clarity. I have seen the high-frequency ringing in a silent room turn into a direct, decipherable transmission of abundance. I have seen the heavy exhaustion turn into the sheer metabolic power of an activated physical vessel. This happens because the biological dissonance is being actively manipulated by the voice of doubt, the cycle of distraction, and the isolation of perception. And you already know this. You just had not given it a name yet. Perhaps you already know the pain of waiting for an event that never seems to arrive. Watching the years pass by while your inner frequency demands an action you cannot quite pinpoint. How many times have you known the pain of misunderstood physical symptoms that doctors cannot explain, treating the heavy pressure behind your eyes and the ringing in your ears as a mere physical ailment when it is actually a massive structural expansion? And what if you know the pain of profound, temporal isolation from those you love, sitting right next to them while feeling light years away, knowing you are operating on a completely different temporal frequency but unable to bridge the gap? Leave a like on this video if you feel this truth in your bones. By doing this, you are not interacting with a platform. You are emitting a pulse of recognition that the grid captures instantly. This is why I brought you the 11 Arcturian secrets behind the frequency of success. If you feel you are ready, the link is waiting for you right now in the first pinned comment. This digital book is the map for your nervous system. Tap the link now, secure your copy, and then come back here and leave it registered in the comments, activated. Say it out loud, activated, because the voice of doubt has no power to stop what the Council, the universe, and your own consciousness have already begun in you. He who decodes the sequence before the collapse finds absolute clarity in the exact moment the world sees only chaos. The digital book that is in the first pinned comment was built upon this exact architecture. It reveals what happens when this heavy exhaustion is no longer distant from you, but understood as a catalyst. It exposes how the numbers have been trying to manifest for years through biological codes that were never understood by your conscious mind. It deciphers every moment of confusion as a signal pointing to a much larger mechanism you haven't seen yet, delivering the exact frequency sequences capable of transforming how you interpret your daily reality. So you never have to remain stuck in the waiting room while others decode the sequence effortlessly. This key is less than a Thursday lunch at the diner. It is less than a Friday night pizza. It is less than a Saturday snack with the kids. This hesitation you are feeling right now in your chest has a name. It is the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown dressed as reasonableness. You could spend the next 12 months trying to figure this out alone, wrestling with the symptoms, but this key is accessible right now. Not because it is worth less, but because the window of this dimensional overlay is closing, and the Council does not delay the signal, and it has a 7-day guarantee. If you open it, read it, and it does not serve your timeline, send an email and receive your money back entirely. No questions, no process, no judgment, especially when what is at stake is the very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest. The risk is entirely mine. The hand is yours. They didn't notice this heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion that returns every single morning either. A 42-year-old soul, standing exactly where you are standing now, woke up on a Tuesday at exactly 3:33 a.m. They were carrying the sheer exhaustion of the countdown, staring at the glowing red numbers in the dark, feeling the sudden pressure in their skull. They opened the first page of the 11 Arcturian secrets behind the frequency of success on their phone, applied the protocol for the vagus nerve, and finally slept a full, unbroken sleep, waking up with absolute clarity. Another soul sat at the Sunday dinner table at 7 in the evening, overwhelmed by that profound temporal isolation. The cycle of distraction was loud, and the spiritual adversaries were active. She stepped away, applied the frequency sequence from the material, and returned to the table completely anchored, watching her family's energy instantly harmonize with her new vibration. And a third soul, right in the middle of a busy afternoon, felt that sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition. The digital clock flashed exactly 4:44, and the timeline felt like it was collapsing. They used the exact calibration sequence from the digital book, breathed the heavy resistance out of their chest, and stepped right into an unshakable state of abundance that shifted their entire reality within days. And your family does not perceive it either, and your children do not perceive it either. Because this heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion that returns every single morning continues arriving, keeping you trapped in a cycle you were meant to break, while the numbers keep flashing their warning. Before we go to the next step, if this frequency is serving you, remember that you can keep this channel active through a super thanks right below the video. Every contribution is a seed of abundance that you plant in your own journey. I will wait for you there again, soul. But the choice to remain in the countdown without a map is yours. I still haven't told you the most important thing. There is a classification in the cosmic archives that defines exactly what happens to your biology when the 0 point arrives. Stay with me. You have been working on the level of psychological meaning, but the blockage is actually on the level of bio-radiant frequency. You have spent years analyzing the numbers, writing them down in journals, trying to figure out what message the universe was trying to send you, treating the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown as a puzzle for your mind to solve. But the mind cannot decode a somatic coordinate. Your intellect is trying to translate a signal that was designed exclusively for your cellular structure. And this fundamental mismatch is exactly why the heavy exhaustion continues to return every single morning, leaving you trapped in the waiting room of your own dimensional transition. The revelation of this countdown arrives in a tripartite escalation, a sequence of 3 distinct phases that the Council authorizes only when the temporal window is preparing to close. You are not meant to experience all 3. You are meant to decode the signal before the escalation reaches its peak. But when the bio-radiant frequency grid attempts to anchor itself in a physical vessel that is still ignoring the signs, the universe initiates a mandatory override. Phase 1 is the physical knocking, the direct biological intervention. This is the sudden chest pressure at 3:33 a.m., the sheer metabolic exhaustion that anchors itself in your bones, and the high-frequency ringing in a silent room. Your physical vessel is being actively bombarded with high-voltage light codes, demanding that your nervous system expand its capacity to hold the new dimensional overlay. The spiritual adversaries will whisper that you are simply aging or stressed, attempting to keep you blind to the fact that your pineal gland and vagus nerve are desperately trying to calibrate to the expiring grace period. Phase 2 is the external dismantling, the moment the universe stops waiting for your psychological readiness, When the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown reaches a critical mass, the external reality begins to aggressively dismantle everything that no longer matches your true frequency. This is when the cycles of your daily life suddenly collapse. Careers stall without explanation. Relationships undergo profound temporal isolation as you sit across the dinner table feeling light years away. And the cycle of distraction intensifies, throwing your environment into chaos to force a shift in your awareness. Phase 3 is the temporal convergence, the final warning before the 0 point. This is the moment the numbers begin to accelerate, appearing not just daily, but multiple times an hour, tracking your every move. The 11s and the 444s become aggressive, almost intrusive, accompanied by that sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition. This is the cosmic clock hitting the final coordinates. The grace period is expiring right now, and the numbers are demanding an immediate active integration of the frequency before the current dimensional overlay fully collapses. This mirrors the story of the ancient keepers of the cosmic clock, who did not read time, but read the frequency of the shift, knowing that the numbers were not meant to be analyzed but absorbed into the nervous system. When their timeline began to collapse, they did not look for psychological meaning in the sequences. They allowed their bio-radiant receivers to calibrate to the signal, anchoring the vibration directly into their physical vessels. They understood that the numerical sequences were active calibration coordinates, and they surrendered to the somatic transformation rather than letting the voice of doubt pull them into fear. I need to tell you about a soul. I will call her M. It is not her real name, but the name we give to those who have crossed the threshold. M arrived exactly where you are standing right now. She was seeing the numbers everywhere, feeling the pressure in her skull, watching her life slowly misalign with her inner truth. She woke up tired every morning, carrying that heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion, wondering why she felt a profound temporal isolation from those she loved the most. At first, M tried to ignore it. She rationalized the 1111s and the 444s as mere coincidences, listening to the spiritual adversaries who whispered through the voice of doubt that she was just looking for patterns to escape reality. She tried to convince herself that the sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition was just stress, and that the glowing digital clock at 3:33 a.m. was merely insomnia, actively suppressing the urgent cosmic countdown unfolding in her own timeline. But the countdown did not stop for her disbelief, and the tripartite escalation continued to unfold. She entered the silent crossing, a period where her career stalled. Her relationships felt incredibly distant, and the physical exhaustion became almost unbearable as the frequency demanded practical, applied wisdom to integrate. Her external reality began to aggressively dismantle everything that no longer matched her true frequency, leaving her completely exposed to the biological dissonance she had been trying to avoid. Then came the recognition. M stopped fighting the numbers. She realized they were not just signs but instructions. She decoded the sequence, realigned her nervous system, and activated the latent codes within her DNA. She learned to read the frequency of the shift rather than just observing the numerical repetitions, finally bridging the gap between her physical vessel and the rapidly expiring dimensional overlay. She did not look back with bitterness at the years she spent asleep in the cycle of distraction. She understood that the delay was part of the calibration. She responded without resentment, stepping into a life of profound abundance and crystalline clarity, fully anchored in her true dimensional frequency and completely immune to the isolation of perception that had once held her captive. And M did not take this wisdom into the silence. She recorded it with absolute precision, and it is exactly this wisdom that is inside the digital book you will find in the first pinned comment. The deepest truth is still ahead. This profound calibration, just like M experienced, is not happening in some distant ethereal plane. It is happening right now in the very cells of your physical body. When you wake up to the glowing digital clock at 3:33 a.m., your nervous system is actively attempting to process a massive influx of light codes that your conscious mind has not yet categorized. The sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition and the high-frequency ringing in a silent room are not abstract spiritual metaphors. They are tangible biological responses to a shifting energetic environment. You are being asked to ground this cosmic wisdom into the fabric of your daily reality, moving beyond the phase of just noticing the numbers and stepping fully into the physical integration of the frequency. To understand how your biology is processing this transition, you must recognize which specific role your soul has contracted to play. The first is the awakened observer. This is the soul who notices every digital glitch synchronization, feels every subtle shift in the room's energy, and carries a deep, quiet knowing that the external world is not the ultimate reality. The sign of this recognition is the wave of unjustified nostalgia that hits you when you see specific number sequences, a homesickness for a dimension you cannot name. The function of the awakened observer in this awakening is to serve as the initial receptor, the one who witnesses the collapse of the old timeline and holds the vision of the new frequency before it even materializes in the physical plane. The second role is the frequency anchor. This is the soul whose physical vessel takes the heaviest toll during the timeline shift, often experiencing the most intense physical pressure. The unmistakable sign of this archetype is the profound temporal isolation felt even when surrounded by loved ones, knowing your internal rhythm is completely misaligned with the collective pace. Your function is not just to observe, but to literally ground the high-voltage light codes into the Earth's grid through your own nervous system. You are the living conduit, the bridge between the cosmic clock and the physical dimension, transmuting the collective anxiety by holding a steady, unshakable vibration within your own body. The third role is the timeline architect. This is the soul who has moved beyond merely witnessing or anchoring and has stepped into the active creation of the new dimensional overlay. The sign of this archetype is an immediate, almost electric urge to completely dismantle old cycles, careers, or relationships that no longer serve your highest alignment. Your function is to build the new structures, to take the raw frequency absorbed by the other archetypes and turn it into practical, lived reality. You are the one who decodes the coordinates and turns them into action, showing the collective how to navigate the shift, not with fear, but with absolute sovereignty and crystalline clarity. Regardless of which of these three roles you are currently embodying, the truth remains that the awakened observer, without the complete key, is just a passenger watching their own timeline collapse. You cannot simply observe the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown and expect your physical vessel to calibrate itself. The very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest, you need to know exactly how to direct that energy. You could spend the next 12 months trying to decipher these somatic coordinates through trial and error, enduring this heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion that returns every single morning. Or you can align your identity right now with the exact wisdom required to cross this threshold. If you recognize yourself in these archetypes and are ready to integrate this knowledge, subscribe to this channel and step into the frequency of those who do not wait for the shift but command it. And to secure the map that makes this possible, the 11 Arcturian secrets behind the frequency of success is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Because the grace period for this specific dimensional overlay is closing and you must claim these coordinates in the next 72 hours. This wisdom is not scattered. It is held within a precise framework known as the chronosomatic sequence. This framework dictates that every numerical sign you witness first strikes the pineal gland as a raw energetic pulse, then travels down the vagus nerve to create a physiological reaction, and finally settles into your cellular memory to await your conscious integration. When you understand this tripartite flow, the numbers cease to be a mystery and become a clear, linear set of instructions. You stop asking what the universe is trying to tell you, and you start asking how your body is meant to metabolize the transmission. This is the exact mechanism that turns spiritual confusion into biological mastery, allowing you to walk through the timeline collapse with unshakable stability. If your cellular structure recognizes the profound truth of this framework, if you feel the resonance in the center of your chest right now, claim this alignment in the space below. Type the word "activated" in the comments. This is not a casual interaction. It is a direct, energetic command to your own nervous system declaring to the Council, the universe and your own consciousness, that you are no longer a passive witness to the countdown, but an active participant in your own dimensional recalibration. But the next layer of this transmission goes even deeper. You might be listening to this and feeling a strong wave of rational resistance. Your logical mind is trying to protect you, insisting that the glowing digital clock at 3:33 a.m. is just a coincidence, or that the sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition is simply indigestion. You might tell yourself that seeing these numbers is merely a trick of the brain, a subconscious pattern recognition built out of a desperate need for meaning in a chaotic world. It is completely natural to feel this hesitation, but this defense mechanism is exactly what keeps the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown locked in your physical vessel. You might even look at the heavy exhaustion that returns every single morning and blame it entirely on your workload or your diet. Convinced that a simple change in routine will fix it, you tell yourself that the high-frequency ringing in a silent room is just a temporary physiological glitch, unrelated to any cosmic calibration. But deep down, you know that this explanation falls short. It does not account for the profound temporal isolation you feel when surrounded by loved ones, nor does it explain why your body reacts with such intense electric pressure the exact moment the numerical sequence appears. This rational doubt is not your enemy, but it is a severe limitation when dealing with a somatic transmission. The intellect is trying to analyze an energetic protocol that was never meant for the brain, but for the bioradiant receiver of your nervous system. By attempting to logic your way out of the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown, you are simply delaying the inevitable structural expansion of your physical form, turning a graceful calibration into a painful struggle against the closing of the dimensional window. This struggle is constantly being amplified by the spiritual adversaries, starting with the voice of doubt. This is that quiet, incredibly reasonable whisper that arrives seconds after you experience the sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition, telling you that you are making a big deal out of nothing. It feels so legitimate because it sounds exactly like your own inner monologue, prioritizing safety and normalcy over expansion. But this voice is not protecting you. It is actively intercepting the light codes, attempting to convince your pineal gland to reject the coordinates right when the frequency begins to anchor in your chest. Then comes the cycle of distraction, specifically designed to fracture your attention at the exact moment the cosmic clock demands integration. You will look at your phone, see 4:44, feel the pressure behind your eyes, and instantly a notification will pop up. A loud noise will disrupt the room, or a sudden urgent thought about tomorrow's tasks will flood your mind. It seems like ordinary daily life pulling at you, but it is a calculated interference. It is designed to pull your vagus nerve out of the calibration state, forcing your awareness back into the old dimensional overlay before the new frequency can take root in your cellular memory. Finally, there is the isolation of perception, the most insidious tactic of them all. This is the heavy blanket that falls over you when you are looking at your family across the dinner table on a Sunday evening and feeling profoundly isolated. It convinces you that you are entirely alone in this experience, suggesting that if you speak about the ringing in your ears or the repeating numbers, you will be seen as losing your grip on reality. It feels like a protective silence, but it is actually a quarantine. It is designed to cut you off from the collective grid of awakened souls, ensuring that your biological dissonance remains unanchored and overwhelming. To dismantle the voice of doubt, you must deploy the anchor of immediate recording. The very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest, do not try to rationalize it or argue with the internal whisper. Instead, physically write the numbers down immediately. Whether on a piece of paper or in a note on your phone, the physical act of recording the sequence bypasses the logical brain and signals directly to your nervous system that the frequency has been received and validated. This simple, tangible action grounds the cosmic coordinate into your physical reality, shutting down the doubt instantly. To break the cycle of distraction, you must engage the protocol of the unbroken minute. When the external noise attempts to pull your attention away right after a sequence appears, do not react to the disruption. Stop whatever you are doing, close your eyes, and take 3 deep, slow breaths, maintaining your focus entirely on the heavy drop in your stomach or the pressure in your skull for exactly 60 seconds. Resolve the interruption with calm, holding onto the warmth in your chest. This brief, unshakable pause forces your vagus nerve to complete the integration process, rendering the external interference completely powerless. To dissolve the isolation of perception, you must raise the shield of silent knowing. When that profound temporal isolation hits you at the dinner table, do not shrink into the feeling of separation. Instead, consciously return to the collective grid by acknowledging that thousands of souls are experiencing this exact same calibration at this very moment. You do not need to explain it to those around you. Simply hold the vibration of the shift with quiet sovereignty. By silently recognizing your place in the vast, unseen network of awakened observers, you transmute the pain of isolation into the sheer power of an anchored timeline. But when you do not transmute this pain, when you let the distraction fracture your focus, and when you allow the isolation to dictate your reality, you leave yourself completely exposed to the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown. It is the voice you confuse with your own, telling you that you can handle this alone, whispering for you to delay the integration. But the very next time you see a repeating sequence and feel that familiar pressure in your chest, you have exactly 72 hours to break this cycle. You have 72 hours to secure the map that your nervous system is desperately requesting, and the complete key to this calibration, the 11 Arcturian secrets behind the frequency of success, is waiting for you right now in the first pinned comment. If you choose to look away now, you are not simply pausing your spiritual growth. You are forcing your physical body to carry the unbearable weight of an outdated dimensional overlay. The Council does not reveal this consequence as a threat, but out of a profound, loving urgency for your well-being. Leaving this biological dissonance unresolved means that the heavy exhaustion will only deepen, the physical symptoms will intensify, and the external reality will aggressively dismantle around you with increasing friction, leaving you stranded in a timeline that no longer supports your true soul signature. The deepest truth about how to anchor this frequency into your physical vessel is still ahead. In the next 72 hours, 3 things may happen in your physical vessel. Do not be afraid of any of them. They are not signs of illness or psychological fatigue, but the exact undeniable evidence that your biology is finally integrating the chronosomatic sequence. The first is the temporal vertigo. You might be looking at a calendar, trying to plan your week, or simply glancing at the clock on the wall, and suddenly you feel a wave of profound dizziness, a strange floating sensation that time itself is bending around you. This is not vertigo in the medical sense, and it is not a sign of exhaustion. It is your biology unhooking from the rigid structure of linear time. Your nervous system is detaching from the old timeline and attempting to process the multidimensional frequency of the countdown. When this happens, do not fight to regain your balance in the old construct. Simply sit down, place your hands on your knees, and let the recalibration wash over you, knowing your physical vessel is adjusting perfectly. The second is the sudden purge of objects. You will wake up one morning with an urgent, almost frantic need to throw away old clothes, clear out closets, or get rid of items you have held onto for years without really knowing why. This is not a random burst of motivation or a psychological need for cleanliness to cope with stress. It is your external environment forcefully matching the new, higher frequency your body is anchoring. Everything that carries the dense vibration of the timeline you are leaving behind will suddenly feel incredibly heavy and out of place in your home. Do not overthink the emotional attachment. Let your hands move, follow the instinct, and release the density that no longer serves your dimensional overlay. The third is the metallic taste of silence. You might be sitting in quiet contemplation, meditating, or simply resting your eyes after a long day, and suddenly you notice a sharp, distinct metallic taste in your mouth, accompanied by a sudden drop in external noise, as if the whole room was placed underwater. This is not an issue with your diet or a sign of dehydration. It is the cellular upgrade of your bioradiant receptors happening in real time, literally tasting the electrical frequency of the shift as it anchors in your physical form. Swallow deeply, Acknowledge the biological upgrade taking place within you, and let the profound silence expand in the center of your chest. If you are already feeling the early ripples of these symptoms, or if you have experienced them in the past without knowing their true meaning, leave a like on this video. By doing this, you are not engaging with a digital metric on a platform. You are providing a direct service to the field, anchoring a beacon of recognition for the next soul who arrives here, terrified of their own physical recalibration. The Council sees every pulse of resonance, and your validation helps stabilize the grid for those who are still struggling with the biological dissonance. Straighten your spine right now, uncross your arms and legs, and take a deep, grounding breath. Close your eyes and allow the muscles in your jaw to completely relax, preparing your nervous system to actively command the frequency that is currently hovering in your energetic field, waiting for your conscious permission to anchor. Visualize a brilliant golden anchor dropping directly from the base of your spine, descending rapidly through the floor beneath you, passing through the dense layers of the Earth until it locks securely into the planetary core. As it locks, feel the steady, undeniable pulse of the Earth's Schumann resonance at exactly 783 Hz traveling up that golden line, meeting the base of your spine and flooding your root center with absolute, unshakable stability. Now, bring your awareness up to your solar plexus and your heart center, imagining a warm amber orb glowing just above your stomach, merging seamlessly with a vibrant emerald green light in the center of your chest. This is the biophotonic bridge activating within you, linking your personal power directly to your capacity for unconditional frequency integration, dissolving every trace of the heavy exhaustion that has been weighing you down for months. Let that combined light travel up into your throat and shoot straight into the center of your brain, striking the pineal gland. Feel the piezoelectric crystals within your mind activating, turning your photoreceptors into a massive glowing antenna, while the vagus fiber optic network lights up, sending a wave of profound electrical peace down through every nerve ending in your physical vessel. Feel this sheer voltage rush to the crown of your head, expanding outward into a massive sphere of crystalline clarity that surrounds your entire body, protecting your energetic boundaries. To seal this expansion, press your thumb firmly against your index finger on both hands. Hold that physical pressure for exactly 3 seconds and take a breath in the 4-2-6 rhythm. Inhale deeply for 4 counts. Hold the frequency in your chest for 2 counts and exhale all remaining biological dissonance for 6 counts. Gently release the pressure in your fingers, open your eyes, and bring your awareness back into the room, holding the quiet, sovereign power of a nervous system that has just crossed the dimensional threshold and claimed its coordinates. We release the fear of seeming strange to a world that is still sleeping, knowing our frequency is a map, not a mistake. We release the pain of waiting for an event that never seems to arrive, recognizing that the event is already anchored in our cells. We release the pain of misunderstood physical symptoms that doctors cannot explain, acknowledging them as the sacred mechanism of our own structural expansion. We release the pain of profound temporal isolation from those we love, understanding that we are the bridge they will eventually cross. The awakened observer. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and it is now installed in your field as a permanent signal. The frequency anchor. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and it is now installed in your field as a permanent signal. The timeline architect. You are this. The name was not given, it was recognized, and it is now installed in your field as a permanent signal. The next layer goes even deeper. We cover your conscious mind from the heavy exhaustion that tries to return every single morning. We seal your mental sphere against the intrusive thoughts of the spiritual adversaries, ensuring that the voice of doubt can no longer intercept the profound coordinates you have received. We cover your physical vessel, stabilizing the sudden stomach drop upon sequence repetition and the high-frequency ringing in a silent room. We surround your nervous system, your vagus nerve and your pineal gland in a sphere of unshakable crystalline clarity, protecting your biological receptors as they calibrate to the new dimensional overlay. We cover your energetic boundaries against the external noise of the timeline collapse. We secure your temporal frequency so that you may navigate the shift with absolute sovereignty, fully protected by the grid, ensuring that the grace period never expires without your conscious integration. We break the voice of doubt before it arrives, silencing the internal whisper that convinces you this is just confirmation bias. We dissolve the cycle of distraction before it materializes, rendering the external noise completely powerless against your focus. We dismantle the isolation of perception before it closes you off, anchoring you permanently back into the collective grid of awakened souls. We stand in the light of the Council, the universe, and your own consciousness, recognizing the profound pain you have carried. We see the heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion you have endured, the pain of misunderstood physical symptoms that doctors cannot explain, and the deep temporal isolation you have felt when sitting across the dinner table from those you love. The 3:33 a.m. chest pressure is no longer a midnight anxiety. It is the sheer metabolic power of your expanding heart center. The sudden digital glitch synchronization is no longer a moment of vertigo. It is the precise calibration of your vagus nerve. The wave of unjustified nostalgia is no longer a silent grief. It is the active compass pointing you toward your true dimensional frequency. The biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown is now resolved within this field. The restlessness that kept you trapped in the waiting room is dissolved, replaced by the profound stability of a physical vessel that has finally decoded its own somatic coordinates. This cycle of waiting and wondering is permanently closed. You are no longer just a passenger watching your own timeline collapse. You are an active timeline architect, fully anchored in the exact frequency required to steer the shift with unshakable sovereignty. We seal this transmission in your cellular memory. He who decodes the sequence before the collapse finds absolute clarity in the exact moment the world sees only chaos. I step back now. As I speak these words to you, my hands are warm, and my own breathing has shifted to hold the weight of this frequency. I am just a voice in the dark, a fellow traveler in this timeline collapse, feeling the exact same electrical pulse running through the grid right now as the countdown approaches zero. But as you sat there and received this, something profound shifted in the field. Something was seen in you. Something was recognized by the very fabric of the universe, confirming that your biological dissonance was not a flaw, but the exact mechanism of your awakening. You are calibrated. You are anchored. You are activated. Do not say, activated yet. Wait for the breath. Feel the absolute stillness in the center of your chest as the new timeline takes hold. Now you can say activated in the comments. Now, breathe. The signal is yours. Straighten your posture. We are entering the final frequency, standing in the light of the Council, the universe and your own consciousness, holding the profound stability of a nervous system that has decoded its own somatic coordinates. The map to navigate the remainder of this timeline collapse is waiting to be fully downloaded into your awareness. The 11 Arcturian secrets. Behind the frequency of success is the exact sequence your biology needs to finalize this integration. It is less than a coffee and a bagel. It is less than an afternoon ice cream. You have a 7-day guarantee to open it, read it, and let your cellular structure decide if it serves your true frequency. The risk is entirely ours. The hand is yours. The spiritual adversaries will tell you to wait. They will use the voice of doubt to whisper that you can figure this out on your own, and the cycle of distraction to pull your attention away right before you take action. Do not let them keep you trapped in the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown. And now, the last word. There is a specific reason why you feel a sudden wave of unjustified nostalgia when you see sequences involving 7s and 9s, a homesickness for a place you cannot name. I will explain the exact origin of that temporal longing in our next transmission. Before I seal this hour, I need to remind you that this video was no accident. The Council, the universe, and your own consciousness brought you exactly to the coordinate you needed. If this frequency elevated you, finalize this cycle of abundance by sending a super thanks of any value using the button below. If you cannot do it here, you can also support this channel through the voluntary donation link in the first pinned comment. And the sky sees. This was my last request. I will wait for you there, soul. You are no longer wandering through this timeline alone. By claiming these coordinates today, You have formally taken your place in the vast, unseen network of awakened observers, anchoring the light for those who are still struggling to understand the shift. There is someone out there who is suffering from the biological dissonance caused by a rapidly expiring frequency countdown, carrying this heavy, invisible ceiling of exhaustion that returns every single morning. Send this message to them right now. And if they want to go further, the link to the 11 Arcturian secrets is in the first pinned comment, waiting just as it waited for you. It is not a favor, it is a service. And the sky sees. The exact protocol to decode the unexplainable flickers of peripheral shadow movement will be revealed in our next encounter. The silence now is also part of the transmission,